Drawing on paper is fun, but I think I'm kind of bored. So today we are going to be drawing on 4 different surfaces. We're going to be drawing on ceramic, glass, paper, and wood after we unbox a brand new art supply and of course do the satisfying swatching. Hey magical sparks, welcome back to my channel. It's Sparkle, and today we're going to be unboxing a brand new art supply from Ohuhu. So the company was kind enough to send me this art supply to try out, and of course I'm going to be sharing my review with you guys. All my thoughts and opinions will be 100% my own. And with that, let's get started. Right after we appreciate how cute this chameleon is and how well it matches with the packaging. Gotta love that. So today we're going to be having a look at the Ohuhu Cacao acrylic marker set, specifically the 90 marker set, and in this set we get dual-sided markers. Let's open it up and see how it looks. And while I'm doing that, I just want to send out a very big thank you to everyone who commented asking if I was okay and if everything was okay and telling me not to quit YouTube. I wasn't planning on quitting. I'm completely fine. I kind of just took a break from YouTube, unintentionally, honestly. I've been drawing and stuff, but yeah, I'm all good. But thank you so much for your concern, everyone. It really means a lot. And now jumping back to our marker set, let's see what's inside. First up, we have got replacement nibs. These are always very handy. Next up, there was an information pamphlet inside. And this next thing is my favorite because we got not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 swatch cards. I was not expecting that. And now finally, the very last thing we have in our marker set is of course the actual markers, and here they are. Now the packaging though, that kind of shocked me because I thought it would be attached to the case, but it turns out you can actually take out each individual section, which is kind of cool actually if you think about it. I think it'd be pretty fun to organize these into different color palettes. By the way, here's how the case looks without the markers inside. It's super lightweight, and popping the markers back inside is as easy as 1, 2, 3. One thing I really like about the case is that it comes with a handle because when you're traveling, it is a lifesaver. And now let's have a closer look at one of the markers. Here's how the marker looks, super shiny, and also there's instructions on how to activate it at the back. The color is labeled on one side, and we've got 2 different nibs. Here's the first one, and here's the second. And now it's time for the most fun and satisfying part. Let's activate and swatch our markers. Once I grabbed my sketchbook, I went ahead and grabbed a marker, shook it nice and well, and then started to slowly press it down very gently on the paper. And just like that, in a couple of seconds, the ink started flowing out. And look how juicy it is. And then I repeated the same thing on the other side, and look at the difference between the 2 nibs. That's kind of cool. By the way, here are how the nibs look once they're activated. Now, one thing I really love is how swatching these markers was genuinely so satisfying. Look at the ink flowing. You cannot tell me that is not satisfying. Now, although it is satisfying, one tiny thing to consider is that this marker set comes with 90 markers, and they're all double-sided, so technically 180 nibs. And now activating that is going to take a long time. So once I did 6 markers, I realized that it was going to take me a very long time to activate everything. So I actually asked my parents for help. And that was actually lots of fun. We ended up activating all the markers together in a couple of minutes, and it was a very fun bonding activity. Also, look at this metallic marker. It looks like actual gold. What? On a different note, as I was activating the markers, something I noticed was that the fine nib has a different material to the round nib. As you can see, it's a bit more firm and stiff, and it's kind of a bit plasticky, I guess. But I like it because I feel like it'll just keep the markers nice and strong and kind of prevent them from fraying as quickly, which is definitely something to appreciate. Also, here are some behind the scenes of when we were activating the markers. We started doing it 1 by 1, but then my parents tried doing 2 and 3 at the same time, which was actually pretty effective and pretty quick. Anyways, teamwork makes the dream work. And I love this. I think this is just so cute. And of course, Mr. Jun was there watching us the whole time, so here he is. Anyways, I have a little tip to share with you guys. And this is just kind of based on my personal preference, I guess. So basically, with the markers, you can't actually see all the markers at the same time unless you flip each section to see what's on the other side. Which is kind of annoying because if you're looking for a marker, it's just really hard to find what you're looking for. So what I did was I ended up switching the direction of all the markers, and that way it was so much easier for me to see everything all at once. And in that way, each time I was looking for a particular color, it was just really easy for me to find exactly what I wanted. Anyways, with that, let's begin the swatching, starting off with our black cards. Now, as I began swatching, I was immediately surprised by just how opaque these markers are, especially like pastel colors and metallic colors. They were all showing up so well with just one coat. Like, look at this. It's so juicy and it actually shows up on black paper. Now, there are some markers that I've tried in the past where they don't really show up on black paper. They're kind of like translucent, especially lighter colors like white and things like that. And also, you might need to add like a couple of coats, maybe like 2 or 3 for it to be opaque. But with this, like I said, one coat and we have this much opacity. And I think that's quite impressive. And now here are all the colors we get in this set. As you can see, there's a pretty good variety of colors. I'm seeing lots of neons, metallics, vibrant colors, pastel colors, and some grays and neutrals as well. And overall, I'm pretty happy with the color selection. And with that, let's move on to our white swatch cards. Personally, I really love swatching markers. Like whenever I get any kind of new art supply, I want to use it immediately. But the cool thing about swatch cards is that you can try out each and every single marker in this set, and also while you're doing that, you can make a little mini color reference that you can use in the future. When I first began drawing, like when I was on my art journey, I didn't really understand the importance of swatch cards, but now when I'm coloring my drawings, I always like to have some kind of reference of the colors so I can easily pick out the ones that I want. And yeah, it's pretty handy. Anyways, just like that, we have finished our second set of swatch cards. And here they are. Out of all the colors in this set, I'm gonna say mint green, hydrangea blue, pastel lilac, and bronze are my favorite markers because they look so pretty. I really want to make a drawing with that color palette now. Anyways, here are the swatch cards. Here's how they look side by side. And also, if you want to find out more about these markers, you can head over to Ohuhu's website. I just went there to read more about the markers, and here they are. By the way, I have something very special to share with you guys. So Ohuhu was very kind and they created a coupon code for me to share with you guys. The code is SPARKLEJULY10. The spelling will be on the screen, and it offers a 10% discount and can be used on all products on the Ohuhu website. It will be valid from the 10th of July and will last for 6 months. Feel free to enjoy the discounts. You can take full advantage of this coupon code if you'd like to. I'll also have more information about this in the description of this video, as well as the link to this art supply as well. And with that, I think it is time for us to get started with the coloring part, the customizing part. So let me show you what I got. So today we are going to be drawing on literally everything but paper. So I picked up a couple of things, including this washi tape, which I'm actually not going to use today, but it's still pretty, so let's take a second to admire it. So the first thing I picked up was this glass candle jar. Not to actually use as a candle jar, but just maybe a pen holder or something. The next thing I picked up was this really cute little ceramic plate. I think it'll make a really nice trinket dish. Plus it'll be fun to customize since it's a blank white surface. And now the next thing I picked up was this really pretty wooden hanging butterfly decoration. There were 2 options there. One was a butterfly and one was a shooting star. I literally stood there for 2 minutes thinking, but eventually I went with the butterfly because I think it'll be really fun to see what we can make. And now the very last thing I picked up was this drawstring bag so that we can try drawing on fabric. I would have preferred a tote bag, but it's fine, I'll settle with what I got. And now let's open everything up. So the first one that I want to decorate today is going to be the butterfly because I'm just like really drawn to it. I want to see what I can make with it. So I brought out my swatch cards, picked out my colors, this is the inspiration, and of course began coloring, starting off with the blue. By the way, as you can see, unfortunately, the cap doesn't fit on the back of the marker. Anyways, my idea for this was to start off with blue and create a gradient on the butterfly's wings so that it could go from blue to purple to eventually pink. Coloring on wood was so much more satisfying than I ever would have expected, and also something I really loved was the way that the wood kind of like absorbed the ink from the markers. Like, as you can see, there is like minimal streaks, which is definitely something I love. But regardless of that, my initial plan was actually to add 2 coats of each color just so that it really pops and stands out, which is what I'm going to be sticking with. And here's how the first coat is looking. So far, so good. I'm pretty happy with it. And now the next step is to go ahead and add in the rest of our colors, wait for them to dry, come back in with the second coat, and at the very end, blend everything out with my third coat. Do you know what my favorite thing about acrylic paint pens is? It's the fact that you can change anything at any given point in time. For example, I added this coral pink color at the very end of the gradient, but I didn't like how it looked, so I literally just grabbed out a different marker, added it on top, and look, the coral is completely gone. I used the round nib to color in all those big areas and get those surfaces covered, and then switched to the fine nib to kind of get into those little nooks and crannies and get all those little spots colored in. I definitely do like having the option of using either nib because they're both really great, you know, for different purposes. One being smaller details and the other one being larger areas. Now it's time for me to add in my second coat, but something unexpected happened. I don't know why, but the first coat gave me no problems with streaks. The second one, however, did give me lots of streaks. Like, as you can see, it's quite visible. But at the end, I added some texture to the butterfly with some details and stuff, so you couldn't really tell that much. But yeah, I don't know why that happened. Anyways, with the actual butterfly, as you can see, I started off with blue, I changed my mind, and then I switched to purple. I love having that option though. It just feels like so freeing, knowing that you can change anything at any given point in time. Next up, I wanted to color in the inside of my butterfly. That sounds weird. The inner wing area of the butterfly with a silver metallic marker, but it kind of wasn't working on me, so I thought that maybe it might be clogged, so I used a tissue paper to kind of wipe it off and clean it up. And then I shook it, and then I tried again, pressing down gently to get that ink flowing, and it does work, but then it kind of slows down again and it becomes a bit streaky and uneven. So it took me a while, but I ended up covering up this area. However, when I moved on to the next part of the butterfly's wings, I noticed that the problem just kept on continuing, and I realized that it was going to take me a very long time to color in everything if I had to deal with this for each individual section. I don't know why it's happening, I don't know how to fix it, but I had to pivot, had to find something different to do because obviously I want to color in this butterfly. But the thing is, I really wanted the inside to be that pretty metallic silver color. I wanted it to sparkle and glow, so I did try my best with this marker. I tried a lot of things for a long time, but it just wasn't working. See, the thing is, this marker does work on paper. Like, you saw me swatching it before. I just don't know what's happening with the wood. But yeah, eventually I just decided that I need to use a different color. So I ended up going with purple for the inside, and this worked out pretty well. As you can see, the purple applied nice and quick and nice and smooth. And I was really happy because it was matching the color palette until this happened. I was coloring in this section of the wing, and because I already had the silver metallic marker there, it kind of messed with the purple. Let me show you what I mean. So as you can see, it's not really going on smoothly, and it's kind of creating this like pasty kind of texture. For comparison, let me show you the left side versus the right side. So this is how the left side looks, right? It's not dry yet, but it's pretty flat. This side looks really textured and pasty. I don't know what's up with that. But what I did was I grabbed a tissue paper, I tried to take up as much of the texture as I could, and then I kind of let it dry a bit, went over it again, and that way I managed to get it looking pretty good. And I think we can all learn a very, very valuable lesson from this experience. That lesson being, purple is the most superior color in the world. No, I'm kidding, but maybe it is. The actual lesson being that even though you might face obstacles with your art, even though things might take an unexpected turn, don't worry, just keep going, find a solution. There will always be a solution. You just gotta decide which one you're going with, and yeah, try to just think outside the box. And on that note about thinking outside the box, I wanted to try something a little bit different today. So instead of going for that normal, perfectly blended gradient type of look, I wanted to try to create the illusion of a gradient by speckling on the wood. And this was so much fun to do. And it ends up looking so cool. Like, it kind of looks like it's printed and it just looks so pretty in real life. Like, I cannot in words describe how obsessed I was when I finished this. Like, I was just staring at it because I was so proud of myself. I mean, look at that. It's like a fun explosion of color. It also looks like sparkles and I love it. It's definitely my vibe. Now it's time for some finishing touches. I went ahead and added in some details in those little wing sections. Nothing too fancy, just simple patterns. And to make sure that everything just ties in together really well, I went ahead and used that same color palette. Overall, it definitely helped me to kind of just tie everything together, create that really cohesive look, make it look unified, and just overall really pretty. By the way, if you've managed to watch this far into the video without skipping or fast forwarding, you are truly a legend. Thank you so much for watching. It really means a lot to me. And if you'd like to let me know that you made it this far, feel free to comment this emoji down below. Thank you so much. It really means a lot to me. And now back to our butterfly. As you can see, she is looking absolutely stunning. Like, look at the colors, look at the sparkles. This is gonna make it so much more magical. Like, honestly, it just tied everything together and I love it. I'm obsessed. And now I'm signing it off because I'm done, but the grand reveal is gonna be at the very end. But don't worry, it's time to decorate item number 2, our glass candle jar and the wooden lid on top. So here's my inspo for the color palette. It's gonna be really simple and elegant. And the first thing I wanted to add were some simple white flowers. I'm trying really hard to remember, and from memory, I believe this is the very first time I'm actually drawing on real glass. And it was so satisfying. Like, look at the marker go on it. It kind of felt like using whiteboard markers on a whiteboard. Like, that's how smooth it was. It was really nice. It was lots of fun. Once I drew in my flowers, I went ahead and added some green stems with this really nice green color. After that, I went back in to add a second coat on everything and then added some more details. Now, initially, I did want to draw a very full, colorful flower field, but to be honest, I love the way this looks. It's so minimalistic and simple, but so aesthetic and cute at the same time. So I ended up just sticking with this. I know that sounds super easy, but the amount of self-control it took me to stop there and not add more colors was actually really hard. Anyways, after that, I wanted to make everything look super magical, so of course, we added in a bunch of sparkles. Am I obsessed with sparkles? Yes. Yes, I am, and I'm proud of that. Anyways, now I'm signing it off because I'm technically done, but not quite at the same time, because remember how this little candle jar came with a lid? Well, I want to try doing some hand lettering to see how it turns out. I was thinking of doing something fancy, but at the end I just settled with my normal handwriting, and once I had the placement marked out with pencil, I went in with the markers to go ahead and really bring it to life. Also, this is kind of random, but I am a huge fan of calligraphy and hand lettering, so I'm just kind of curious, if I ever made a video with purely just hand lettering with satisfying close-up shots, would you guys be interested? Because I know I would. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And just like that, we are done with project number 2. I still can't believe I'm doing 4 projects in one video, but let's keep this going. Next up, we've got our ceramic plate, and here is the color palette inspiration. And for this one, a really specific idea kind of just popped into my head, so I ended up doing exactly that. So my idea was to have a white flower in the middle of the plate, and then a squiggly checkerboard pattern in the background that kind of goes from a gradient of green to pink. It'll make sense, trust me. Now, I didn't usually pick favorites, but this plate was my favorite. Drawing on this was just such a satisfying experience. It was so satisfying to kind of just see the ink be absorbed by the plate. As you can see, it's really just not that streaky, at least the first coat isn't, kind of like our wooden butterfly, which was just super satisfying. It was also super satisfying to see an idea from my mind come to life in front of me. Like, I love the way the gradient worked out, I love how squiggly and bendy it is, and I especially love the colors I chose. I'm really proud of that. I think all the colors just look so harmonious and perfect together, and you know that feeling you get when everything is just working out and going perfectly and according to plan, and you just feel so relaxed? That's exactly how I felt. Since it was like pretty repetitive, there wasn't a lot to think about, and that just made it such a nice activity to just kind of unwind and color and watch my idea come to life. With that being said, did I accidentally skip a color at the very end of my gradient? Yes, I did. Are you gonna pretend you didn't see that? Yes, you are. Please. Let's just try and pretend that never happened and I never told you. To clean up the edges, I went in with my white marker and then added a second coat to everything. And with that, I was officially done. It was super simple and it turned out looking super duper beautiful. Signing it off and moving on to the last project. Wait, hold on. The last project. Can you believe that? We actually made it to the final one. So let's go ahead and grab out our supplies. Starting off with the bag I'm going to be drawing on. It's actually quite big. Like, as you can see, it is pretty big. So I'm thinking of drawing the letter S, so I grabbed out my pencil and roughly sketched out the shape I want to go with. I kind of just made it up as I went. I started off by just drawing the letter S, then I made it chunky and bubbly and smooth, and now that I'm looking at it, it kind of looks like the logo from Shrek. But we're gonna pretend I didn't say that. So once I picked out my colors, I went ahead and got a cutting board and popped it inside the bag just to make sure the ink doesn't accidentally get onto my desk mat. And now, starting off with our very first marker, I went in with this really nice peachy color to color in everything. I found this really satisfying and everything was going really well until the marker kind of started to slow down. The ink wasn't coming out as perfectly as it was before. So I stopped coloring and tried to get a closer look at my marker, and that's when I realized what happened. As it turns out, the actual nib of the marker had somehow kind of caught the fabric from the bag, which seemed to be almost clogging it. So I used a tissue paper to kind of pull it out, and this did the trick temporarily. The marker was back to normal and I kept coloring, but after a couple more minutes, it got kind of clogged again. So essentially, I kind of just kept on repeating those steps. As you can see, I did some coloring and then tried to clear out my marker and then kind of just rinsed and repeated. One thing I am glad about though is that even though this is a little bit of a problem, it's still really easy to fix. Like, it's not too difficult, which is something I appreciate. And also, I was kind of hoping that maybe with my second coat, I wouldn't have as much of a problem, which I don't think I did. I think it was mainly just the first coat on the fabric directly, but on the second coat, it wasn't too bad. But anyways, moving on. If I had to rank all the different projects we did today, I think the most satisfying one for me would have to be the ceramic plate, followed by the glass, followed by the wood, and finally the fabric. But overall, I am so happy with each of these projects. I love the fact that I can actually hold them and use them and decorate with them. I think it's really fun, especially as someone who draws mainly on paper and flat surfaces. Drawing on 3D objects and just different materials was a really fun experience. And now, jumping back to our project, I used a slightly darker marker to kind of add a bit of shading around the edges of the S. It's kind of subtle, but it still adds a little bit of depth, which I like. And then I grabbed out a metallic marker, and I used this to draw on a bunch of blobs. And right now, I know it looks kind of random. In a couple of seconds, it's gonna make the S look like it's from a giraffe or something, but trust the process, I know what I'm doing. or at least this time. So a couple of months ago, I tried this really fun technique where I drew like a cheetah print with this super simple method. It's so easy, there's just 3 steps. The first step is to add your base color. The second step is to draw a bunch of random blobs and just random shapes and sizes, basically what I did with my metallic marker. And then finally, the very last step is to go ahead and grab your darkest color, which is what I'm doing right now with the black marker, and add some kind of squiggly lines on the border of each blob. You can kind of vary it, you can add 1, 2, 3, or 4. And a very important tip to remember is that you don't want to be strategic with this, you don't want to be logical, you don't want to overthink it. Just do it randomly, just vary it as you go, and that way you'll get like a really natural cheetah fur looking print. At least that's how it looks to me. What do you guys think? Do you know that when I tried this technique for the very first time, and the second, and the third on this little bag here, I was equally stunned by how amazing the results look. Considering the fact that it was so simple and just so spontaneous and random, I think it's really impressive. It's one of my favorite texture techniques. And now to finally wrap everything up, we are finalizing it by adding an outline and a shadow, and of course, signing it off. I still cannot believe how many projects we worked on today, and they were all so much fun. I loved working on all of them, and now it is finally time for me to give you guys the grand reveal. Can I get a drum roll, please? Boom! Here we are, starting off with our butterfly. I love everything about this, including the color palette, the sparkles, the texture, the patterns, like absolutely everything. It looks so good. I still can't believe we made this. Like if I saw this in a store, I would definitely buy it. It definitely matches the vibe of my room. I can't believe we went from a simple wooden butterfly to something this beautiful. Talking about beautiful, check out this beautiful candle jar. The writing on top is so nice, and I love the design at the bottom. It's really simple and minimalistic, yet also super aesthetic and elegant at the same time. And that combination isn't the easiest one to get, so I'm pretty proud of it. I also like the way that the writing on the lid matches with the flowers in terms of the color palette and the concept as well. Now, while this is a candle jar that you can fill with wax and turn into a candle, I want to use this as a pen holder. But at the same time, just to see how it would look with candles, my mom brought out some of her favorite candles. We've got a green one that smells like lime and citrus. It's really delicious, like I almost want to eat it. The second one is a purple one that smells like lavender. And the third one is a white one. Now this one doesn't smell like anything, but it looks super pretty. By the way, I just want to take this chance to send out a very big thank you to Ohuhu for sending me their art supply to try out. I had lots of fun using it, and it was super fun to customize all these different things with the acrylic markers. I really love how versatile these markers are because you can use them for drawing on paper, but also for DIY projects like what we did today. It worked really well on all the surfaces, and I was pretty impressed. Overall, I love how each of the candles looked inside. I think this would be so cute as an actual candle jar. But anyways, it is now time for us to move on to project number 3, aka my favorite project today. Here's how it's looking. I love this trinket dish. I love the color palette. I love the design. I love the fact that I just randomly thought of this. I'm really proud of that. And overall, I just love the way it looks. It's so colorful and simple, yet aesthetic, and I'm obsessed. And although I didn't make this to be a candle holder, I think it still looks so cute to put the candle in the middle of the flower. Like, look at that, it's so pretty. Now, if I were to make this just a little bit better, I would love to add some kind of glossy coating on top, kind of like a varnish. I don't have anything right now, which is why I didn't add it. But in the future, if I ever buy something, I would love to put it on this just to see how this trinket dish looks when it's super glossy and shiny. By the way, which candle do you think looks the best? The purple, the white, or the green? I think I'm going to stick with either the white or the purple. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Also, let me know which of these projects was your favorite, because I think mine is pretty obvious. Cough cough, the third one. But yeah, let me know which one was your favorite down below. And with that, it is now time for the grand reveal of our final project. Oh my gosh, I love this one. It kind of looks like it's printed, and the cheetah print just looks so nice. I just love everything about it. I also added a gold metallic outline around the shadow as well, which is just such a tiny detail that makes such a big difference in my opinion. The metallic print also looks so shiny in real life, like in direct sunlight, and when I have my ring light on, it looks super shiny. The camera didn't really capture it, but it just looks exceptionally amazing. And there's that, everything we made today. I think they're just all so pretty and unique in their own way, and I love each of them. By the way, you can search Ohuhu markers on all platforms, and if you want to check out these specific markers I used in today's video, I will have that linked in the description down below. Feel free to also use the code SPARKLEJULY10 to enjoy a 10% discount on all products on the Ohuhu website. Again, information on that will also be in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching Magical Sparks. I hope you have a fabulous day. Stay awesome as always, and I'll see you in the next one.